Hi, my name is Jackson Kinton, and I have the privilege of being your son and daughter's HL chemistry teacher during the 21-22 school year. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, as you can just learn a little bit more about me. You can learn a little bit more about what your son or daughter is going to be doing in HL chemistry, and hopefully get a feel for how we're going to be doing things this school year. Just real quickly, just wanted to say this is my 8th year teaching here at Enloe. This is my 3rd year, I believe, teaching the HL chemistry course, and I'm excited for this year, specifically with HL chemistry because it's such a lab-based course, to have the opportunity to be in person. And so I'm looking forward to being able to do the labs and being able to kind of share my passion and enjoyment for chemistry with our students. So thank you so much for giving me that opportunity. And so just a couple things that I want to draw you to here. First thing that you'll notice in the background here, we've got my Google Classroom. That's going to be the learning management system that I'm going to be using this year for HL chemistry. As you can see here is the class code within the classroom, and this is where pretty much everything is going to be going for our students this upcoming school year. Like I mentioned, with regards to the HL chemistry course, it's really a unique class. It's something that our students get to take after taking AP chemistry, and so it's just a really fun course because we get to focus on a lot more of the lab-based skills that are there that maybe we didn't get to focus on as much as we did in AP. Obviously, there's a component in AP where we do that, but here there's a higher focus. Also, it's an IB course. That doesn't mean necessarily that your son or daughter is going to be taking an AP exam or an IB exam, but the way that we approach things is going to look a little bit differently. And I'll be talking about that here shortly. So here's the Google Classroom that we're going to be using, and I just really want to draw your attention to just a couple things. Obviously, on my end, this is what it looks like. This is all the stuff that I had from last year. But I'm going to be posting things here. And a good place to start for getting just class resources would be under this class resources tab. You can find the lab safety contract, the inventory that the students are helping me with, AP chemistry checklist. But the first thing that I kind of want us to pull up here is the HL chemistry policies and procedures. It's essentially our syllabus. And so if you want to be able to contact me, the best way to do so is going to be using my email at jkinton@wcpss.net. In terms of a textbook, students will not need to have a textbook. I have a digital copy of the textbook that we're using that I post the chapters to for each section, but it's the Higher Level Chemistry for the IB Diploma 2nd edition by Katrin Brown and Mike Ford. Now, in terms of how students will be graded in HL chemistry, they're going to fall into 2 categories. We're going to have summative assessments and then, should say learning assignments. I'll need to make an adjustment there. But those summative assessments are going to be quizzes and tests. And then learning assignments are going to be everything else. So labs, activities, and simulations that we're going to be doing throughout the course. In terms of what those percentages correspond to, the learning assignments are actually going to be the assignments that constitute the majority of the grade because this class focuses so much on lab-based skills. I want to emphasize that in my grading. And then summative assessments like quizzes and tests, on the other hand, they're going to be a smaller portion at 40%. In terms of our late policy, late makeup work, obviously, I'm going to be as flexible as I can. If it's an absence that you know about in advance, just let me know and we can work out what work you need to get. If it's something that's longer, obviously we kind of fall back to Wake County's policy of the amount of time that you get to make that up. In terms of late work, I will be accepting late work up until 1 week before the end of each quarter, and that's going to be something that you're going to see school-wide. Now, the other really neat thing within this particular class that I think is very, very cool is what's known as the internal assessment. And the internal assessment is an opportunity for students to devise and develop their own experimental questions, something they want to research and test in class. And so what they'll do is they'll identify what chemicals, what materials they'll need, and then they'll run trials. They'll run the experiment, they'll do that, and then they'll write up a kind of in a sense, almost like a paper, just kind of outlining and detailing that particular process. Obviously, there'll be deadlines that'll be provided throughout the year so that students can pace themselves with this large task. Here are the class materials. We just add on here computer and charger. Obviously, with us being a one-to-one school now, the expectation for students to bring their devices is really important. Last thing that I'll note here, last two things really, the HL chemistry options. So within HL chemistry, there are specific options that we can dive into. So within option A would be material science, option B is biochemistry, option C is energy, and option D is medicinal chemistry. And so I'll be talking with students and asking them, which of these options do you find most fascinating? And then hopefully getting some time to dive into each of those topics. And then lastly, just in terms of wish list items, things that would be helpful, I'm just going to highlight nitrile gloves and distilled water so that we can use those things for lab activities. And so that's just a brief overview of what we're going to be doing in HL chemistry this year. Again, I am so looking forward to teaching and meeting and interacting with your son or daughter. If you do need anything, feel free to reach out to me. Again, my email is jkinton@wcpss.net. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. Hope you guys have a great rest of the day.